everybody, and welcome back to another tiny Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Magic, and I'm going to be playing a small, real kind bird by the name of Croak. And I'm here with my lovely friend.
Hello, I'm Mira. I will be playing the tiny little toon Abigail Satin, also known as Abby, who has been having a time recently.
Yeah. All right. Abby, you're out of Harold's house for today. You're staying with Harold right now, and you are currently walking down one of the little tiny streets
Hmm.
right by your old box, and you don't even have to roll perception for this. Abby, there is a giant hole in your box.
Uh,
Like this is a big hole.
One moment while I roll the thing.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a total for a 2.
no, that's a nat one.
That's a nat 1. Oh
That's
boy.
that's a nat one on a wisdom save. She goes white as she goes as white as a sheet. She thinks a rat's gotten into the box.
Oh boy.
She
Uh,
lets out this high pitched scream and then freezes and covers her mouth because, oh god, what if that is actually a rat? Oh no.
roll me a perception check.
Okay. Perception is a +1.
Dice Parser.
Okay, so I got a 19 and your roll was a 17.
All right. You heard a few clicks after the scream, after you did the scream, and then it stopped, and then there was rapid clicking towards the entrance. And out from the hole, there's a bird. A very familiar bird. It is Croak. Croak is looking at you with concern.
Abby just kind of slumps to the ground. She's just she's Ghiblian, so there's a little bit of her spirit leaking out of her mouth right now, just kind of and she has tears at the corner of her eyes. She was so scared. She was so scared.
Croak is climbing through the hole of the box, and with that 19 perception, their stick is very glowy right now. It is very pushy and very glowy, and they kind of drop it next to them, and they walk up to you and just crouch down and look at your face, because this is not how Abby usually acts. Uh,
Croak, are you okay? There's a hole in the crate and
uh, Croak, Croak looks at the crate and then looks back at you and nods yeah, there is a hole in the crate. And then just Abby's Abby's probably tearing up by now, right?
Yep. She's
All
tearing
right.
up. She is still under the impression that a pecking rat chewed through the crate again.
All right. Croak is going to take both of their bird wings and sort of pap them against your face. They are very soft, very feathery, a little bit cold, but they pap against your face.
Abby sniffles, she's just very distraught, and she kind of just you're did did a rat make that?
Uh, okay, hold on. Croak shakes their head no, and then holds up their stick that is very glowy and very bushy.
Was it? Were you trying to get in, Croak?
Croak nods to their head.
I'm sorry. I was trying to find everybody to let them know that it's not safe in my crate anymore. So I'm glad that you're okay, but I thought a rat had made another hole.
Croak tilts their head in confusion.
Okay,
They're giving you the very, like, the dog look of tilt head.
Oh, I love you, Croak. And like with the whole entire fact that the rat did not in fact make the hole that Abby saw Croak come out of, she kind of like pulls herself together again, and she just kind of rubs at her face, and she just is like, Croak, were you looking for me for some reason?
Croak nods, and Croak nods very enthusiastically, and paps your face again before standing up, and then they sort of pat their legs.
You want something with your legs?
Croak nods.
What do you want a skirt?
Croak shakes their head.
Hmm. Do you want... A light bulb goes off on over her head, and she's just like, "Do you want pants, Croak?"
Croak nods.
Oh, oh! I have my stuff over at Harold's. I can make you a really pretty. Well, do you want pretty or do you want more functional? Do you want functional or pretty pants?
Croak stares blankly at you.
Abby just kind of shakes her head because the semantics. Croak can pick out the fabric when they actually get there. and she like kind of dusts herself off and then like holds out a hand for Croak to potentially take.
Yeah, Croak takes the hand.
Okay, and she takes them to Harold's house. And
nice.
Since it's high up, I needed to make a save, and Abby, she's gone up and down the little steps that Harold has put into his house and stuff, and she manages to climb very easily.
Yeah.
Without panicking.
Croak is having a time. At some point, they had shook their stick and it stopped being all glowy and weird. There was probably something magical to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, but Croak looks happy to be here.
Abby's happy to have Croak. And
I don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like I kind of feel like they get to the top and Abby lets them both into Harold's house.
Yeah, and Croak actually had something like slinged around their shoulders, and they unsling it, and it's sort of like a little sheath, and they pull out a very rusty sewing needle, and they're holding it in between their beak rather than their hands.
Oh, are you wanting to use that for the sewing?
Croak nods.
I do have some more slightly smaller ones. Harold let me borrow some. We can get you a better sized one for you. Because that looks a little big.
Croak tilts their head slightly.
Well, we don't want to ruin the fabric, because too big of a hole will just mean it's too big of a hole and it'll tear.
Croak nods. Croak nods again. They're like, yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, she's gonna roll hammer space. Okay, she pulls out some thinner, smaller needles that are like kind of like the that are about the size. Like it goes up to like her thinking. Like it goes up to like her elbow in length. It's a small needle. for real kind, like tall, big people.
Yeah. Croak doesn't pick it up with their hands. They pick it
Mhm.
up with their beak again.
Mhm. Abby kind of like takes this in and nods because she's like, okay, feathers. Feathers don't do the grabby grabby as well. Slippery.
Yeah, and Croak nods. Croak is ready to sew.
Yes. Okay, and then we're just gonna. Abby kind of she takes Croak to a bit of some like to a corner of Harold's house that she's kind of turned into her makeshift temporary laboratory and stuff. And like on like one corner, I'm not gonna make you roll for this. On one corner, you can see some like alchemical stuff bubbling away in like little beakers and pots and stuff. Like they're all kind of a, a wide array of different colors and all the different colors of the rainbow, basically. Like any kind of shade that you would want in fabric, it's there. And like it's all like merrily bubbling away. And on the other side, there's a little pile of bits and bobs of cloth and stuff that she'd managed to find. And then like there's a big pile of yarn, of like unspooled yarn that's like in the process of being spooled up into little balls and stuff. It's thread.
uh, Croak goes for the fabric almost immediately,
Hmm.
and they sort of dig around for a few moments before pulling out a probably not very fashionable polka dot pattern.
Abby oohs and haws over it. She's just like, "Oh, is that what you want for your pants? Those look good."
And Croak nods.
Okay, okay. Do you want what color of the thread do you want? Cause we could do like we could do white so it blends in, or do you want something that kind of pops, like makes the seams pop a little?
Uh, Croak stares at you for a moment, and uh, they hold out their scarf that
Oh,
is a nice blue color.
oh, you want the threads to be blue? Okay, we can do that. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna roll
you don't have to
perception.
roll insight, but blue is definitely Croak's favorite color. You can kind of gather this by now.
Hold soft emoji. So Abby doesn't pull out a blue thread that looks like from the pile of yarn. It doesn't look exactly the same shade of blue that Croak has on their scarf, but it's a blue. She found some blue, and she holds
Nice.
it out for Croak to approve or disapprove.
Uh, Croak just nods. They like all blues. All blues are good.
Okay. Abby like grins and then is like, "Okay, okay, we are going to do you want to do it yourself, or do you want me to show you how to do it so you know how to do it next time?"
Uh, Croak kind of stares at you again, and you've probably seen Croak's clothes before, so you can roll an insight. It's gonna be really easy though.
Mm-hmm. 10.
Yeah, you know that this bird does have like little holes in their clothing that have been repaired, but
Mm-hmm.
like what they repaired it with is definitely not like normal repair materials. So you can probably guess Croak has never used like string for
Mm-hmm.
clothing in their life because it's just been grass.
Mm-hmm.
So Croak stares at you, just kind of.
Abby kind of nods and then is like, "Okay, let's start with how to actually thread the needle." And she's gonna pull out her own needle and also, and then she kind of grabs like just a random bit of thread from the pile of thread, and then she goes, "Okay, what you do is you see the little hoop for the needle, and
Croak nods.
you're gonna need to take that and then thread it through."
Croak carefully places the needle down in their little wing hands, and then grabs onto it with one of their feet, and then grabs the string with their beak and attempts to string it. Should I roll something for this?
Let's maybe do Dex.
Dex. D20. That's a 4.
Oh no, that's a
No,
nat
that's a nat 1. Uh, Croak, Croak tries, but it kind of like flips on the edge, and it
one.
does not work in the slightest. Uh, they
Abby
try to put their beak through the hole, and it's just not working.
just thunk, 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 thunk.
Yeah,
Like they peck at it instead of like actually threading it through.
yeah.
Abby just
They,
looks at this and goes, "Hmm. What if we? Hmm. I'm gonna really quickly roll perception." Okay. She looks around and she finds basically like one of her pillows from where she'd stashed them in a corner, and she's like, aha, light bulb moment, and she goes over, grabs the pillow, and plonks it down on the ground. Croak, why don't you stab the needle through this and then try to thread it?
okay. Croak, Croak picks up the needle in their beak again and sort of stabs it into the pillow, and then picks up the string again to like attempt to string it again, but this time standing up.
Yes. And like roll with like advantage. Come on, dice
Dice
parser.
parser, dice parser,
Dice parser, please.
please. That's a
Okay.
15.
15
15.
does it. 15
Nice.
does it. And
Uh,
they thread the needle.
yeah.
And they
It's
did.
not tied or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they sure did it.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how you actually like make sure the needle doesn't like the string doesn't actually like become untied or anything because I haven't like actually sewn in a very long time. So like let's just say that Abby actually instructs Croak on how to actually use the thread in a proper
Yeah.
way to actually thread through and make sure nothing actually goes out of place with the thread.
Yeah. And Croak now has their threaded needle, and they sit back down with the needle in their mouth, and they are ready to sew. They're ready to sew.
Yes. Um Abby like beams at them and then is like, "Oh wait, we need a pattern and measurements. We need to measure you. Oh, I completely forgot. Oh, I was so excited about the needle. I completely forgot about measurements."
Croak tilts their head slightly.
Okay, well, how much time I'm like rolling for Abby's hammer space? I should definitely pull up her fumble sheet just in case. Um,
Yeah.
but she pulls out her little tape measurer from her hammer space and is just like, okay, I'm gonna need to measure around your waist and then your inch line. She starts mumbling under her breath all the stuff that she actually needs to measure.
Uh, Croak is processing none of this information. You don't even have to like look at them to tell.
Valid.
This is a bunch of number stuff, and they still don't know how to count. Uh,
Oh bless. Oh bless.
but
Um.
they're just kind of standing there now.
Mm-hmm. And so like she basically walks over to Croak and then starts to like measure around their where she assumes their waist is.
Yeah. It's you want to roll me an insight?
E- what's the D20 plus 4? Oh,
Oh,
dirty 20.
hey Abby. Even like you probably didn't expect this bird to be warm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you expected them to be warm because they are wearing a sweater and a scarf and their dress. But this bird is still very, very cold. Like they are cold to the touch.
Or me as the player clarifying, Croak's not usually cold like this, right?
No, Croak is usually cold like this. But
Ah,
it's very strange they are cold like this. Because,
okay.
usually people give off body heat, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's colder than, like, their wings that you've definitely, like, held before.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cold.
Abby kind of pauses at that, and she kind of just looks at Croak and is like, "Croak, are you cold at all?"
With that 20, you can tell by their stare, this is probably the reason they wanted pants. It is very cold. They
Oh,
don't know what a
cool.
winter is. You remember they don't know what a winter is.
Yes, just Abby is fighting the urge to just bundle them up nice and warm under a lot of blankets right now. But she needs to measure. She needs to get them clothing.
Yeah.
So like she finishes measuring and then she's like, "Okay, okay. Pattern for pants. Pattern for pants." A fumble.
You okay?
She fumbled.
Oh, oh, lovely. Oh,
Okay.
lovely.
Okay, let's see what she gets. Okay, what's five? Five. She digs around in her pockets for a moment, and then instead of um, the pattern for pants that she keeps in her hammer space, she pulls out a Larry mask, one of her spares, and she's just like, "Oh, that's where that went." She just kind of grins at it, and then like puts it back in her pocket.
To lose it once again.
Okay, let's see. Okay, and
It's
with this,
10.
she actually pulls out her little pattern for the pants and stuff, and she's like, "Okay, scissors. I need scissors." Gosh, I'm just pulling out everything from her hammer space right now. Okay, 8. and she pulls out her little tiny scissors that she uses, and she just is like, "Ha ha! Snip, snip, snip. We are ready to cut out the pants."
uh, Croak looks pretty happy. They're gonna get pants. This is great.
Yes,
This is
yes.
a great day.
Me leaning heavily on when I was low key learning how to sew when I was young, which was
I
like,
have
oh, like 13 years ago.
I have no idea anything about sewing.
I know
No
tiny bit, and that was because I was 10 learning how to sew from my aunt.
I know how to repair a hole, and that's about it.
Valid, but it's more than I remember. I just remember how to like basically go do a straight line on the sewing machine. That's all I remember.
Oh boy.
But
Um,
anyways, so like
yeah.
Abby Abby starts cutting out the fabric and everything, and I'm going to roll Dex to see if she actually manages to cut it a straight line because why not? That's fun.
Can you roll an advantage, please?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do this on That's a 4.
Okay,
Okay,
13
that's better.
passes. 13 passes, I'm going to say, just because, like,
Yeah.
4. Dice parser, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but so she like cuts it and like it's not the perfect, but it's like she cut enough with enough leeway and stuff that it can be fixed later on once everything's
Yeah.
all cut out and everything. It's fine. It's fine. She's making them pants.
Yeah. But you know what Croak's current clothing dress is made out of, if you remember that far back. So you can probably guess they do not care.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you, Croak, so much. But yeah, so like I feel like by the end it's kind of like this like cartoonish um
Cartoonishly puffy.
yes, and like just like she like is like okay, like after everything's done and stuff, it's like she kind of like does it in this like very cartoonish like snip 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 snip, voila, pieces of the fabric.
Uh, Croak claps their little wing hands. No sound comes from it, because it's feathers, but
Mm-hmm.
they have the spirit.
Abby kind of like does a little curtsy.
And Croak sits back down and sort of takes their needle and starts looking for a place to sew together. This bird may not know where to sew. Uh,
Abby like kind of helpfully points to where to begin, and like she's kind of like pinned the pieces of the pants that need to go together like together by this point.
yeah,
I feel so like they can just start to sew.
yeah. I'm gonna roll a dex just to see how well Croak sews this all together. Hopefully, it's not. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
that
bad.
passes. That passes.
Yeah. Surprisingly, even when Croak's not using their hands or their feet, which do have like, you know, talons. They're using their beak for this. They're
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly deft at it. It's almost practiced.
Oh,
It's not
Croak.
like any it's not fancy stitch, but it's stitch that
Mm-hmm. And like Abby
works
like
and stitch the whole.
yeah, and like Abby nods and she's just like quietly clapping because they're sewing. They're doing so good.
Uh, Croak Croak puffs up a little bit at that,
You're doing
just like
really great,
in a
Croak.
happy way. Uh, Croak looks very happy at that remark.
Abby beams at Croak. She's happy for them.
Oh boy.
Because, like,
And
honestly, clothes doesn't have to be pretty to be nice and warm and comfy.
yeah,
Like, as long as the stitching holds, you're fine.
yeah. And Croak has made some stitches. I don't know if you want Croak to make the entire pants, but
Well, like, do they want to make the entire pants, or do you want
I
Abby
kind
to
of do
kind
want
of.
to make
Okay,
I kind of
then,
do want
then,
to make the entire pants.
yes. Then Abby's going to just sit back and kind of just keep an eye on Croak as they sew to make sure that if they need, she can unstitch whatever mistakes they might have made.
Hey Mira, didn't
Mm-hmm.
didn't Abby want to talk to Croak about certain events
Ah,
that have
yes.
happened?
Yes. Abby was very happy about the fact that, hey, they wanted me to help make pants. She got so involved in the the euphoria of making pants that she completely forgot why she was looking for Croak in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. And now the bird is sitting in front of you making pants. Uh,
Ah,
you can roll insight if you do want to find out if Croak has heard anything
yes,
at
I
all.
will roll insight. Come on, dice. Oh,
This bird has heard nothing. They are living their best life right now of no worries, no concerns, nothing. This bird knows nothing of what's going on. Nothing at all. No one has told them a single thing.
Abby just deflates because, oh no, another member of her family not told anything.
I think
Oh,
because
Larry.
that's a 23. That's a 23. Croak was gone for a small period of time.
Hmm.
It was after someone mentioned something about Real Kind and Zorbly. Yeah, they were gone from the entire conversation because they went to go find Zorbly. Yeah.
Abby just kind of like slumps and it's just like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Also with the 23, they also don't know anything about what happened in the Abby and Lester FPS.
Abby just kind of deflates even more.
This bird knows absolutely nothing.
Oh no. Magic fly. Magic
This
fly.
bird isn't smart, okay?
I know, but I'm just like, Abby is dying. Abby is dying.
Croak, Croak is just vibing here. It's your choice to tell them or not.
But the thing is that Abby had told herself and told Harold, that everybody deserved to know what happened and that she can't hide from it. Oh, Larry, oh no, oh no, she's going to have to explain everything.
Yeah, Croak's just chilling.
Oh, Abby just kind of like, she looks at Croak and she's doing the little anime prayer hands kind of in front of her mouth, just like, oh no, oh Larry, oh no. Uh,
I'm gonna roll a wisdom check to see if Croak can read Abby's mood. Should that be insight?
I
Insight's
think
the same as
insight.
wisdom.
Yeah, I think insight.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nat 20. Croak pauses in their sewing while Abby's doing this and just stops sewing for a second and just looks at Abby in a very, they do the head tilt thing again, but like
Hmm.
they set down their needle and they move a little closer.
Hey, Croak. Um,
Here, you cut out for me a little bit. I'm sorry.
basically, Abby just said, "Hey, Croak." And then she kind of trails off a little.
Uh, Croak puts one of their wing hands, like probably on Abby's arm, just to be like, "Hey, it's okay."
She like kind of melted that like in a positive way, just like, "Oh, Croak, you're so sweet." But Abby is just like, oh, she's dying on the inside. She can't believe she has to do this in such a huge extent. Oh gosh. Oh, Larry. Oh no. And she starts hesitantly explaining from the top what happened and the entire mess with the rats, Victoria. She kind of honestly probably goes on a little bit of a rant about being Twitter padded and having that whole entire mess.
Uh, Croak doesn't seem to understand what that's about, but they sort of understand the idea as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Abby zones out, snap Abby back into reality.
Yes.
They don't understand the deep parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
They just understand that's what they should do.
Yeah. And she mentions, like, she basically goes through the entire Lester FPS, including the rats.
Roll an insight for Croak when you mention rats.
Come on, Dice Presser, please be nice to me. Oh, what does a 12 get me?
Uh, what you get is Croak doesn't react. Like, you mentioned rats, and like you've had bad experience with rats, but Croak doesn't really react at all. They just sort of take it in.
Okay. That doesn't fill me with much confidence as a player, but okay.
All right.
But yeah, and Abby basically continues, and sorry, it's just there's so much that I'm just like, I am just
Yeah.
telling you what she's telling Croak because oh god, it's so much. So much has happened to this tiny town.
Yeah. Uh, Another thing I might want to roll. Does Abby mention that Peck left?
Yep.
Roll
And
insight on that as well.
she mentions that like she okay, 14. What was the wait, no, that was supposed to be
Insight, right?
yeah, that's 17 actually. I did the wrong modifier.
All right. Croak Croak seems to accept this as a fact. They aren't. They don't seem worried at all that a parental figure has left. It's almost like it's normal.
Abby pauses at that and she just kind of looks at Croak and she's just like, "Hey Croak, um, where are your parents?"
Uh, Croak shrugs.
Abby's just like, she makes a little distressed noise in the back of her throat and then just kind of reaches over and hugs the bird.
The bird hugs back. The bird is still cold.
Abby, in the back of her mind, I am going to give you so many blankets.
Yeah. But you're hugging this bird now.
Yeah.
The bird does not understand your pain, but they are hugging you now.
And she's just like, we're your family now. No take backs.
Good.
like
It's a little too late for Abby anyway.
yes, but like it's just like it's like that whole entire like we already viewed you as family, but you're family.
Yeah. And Croak pulls away from the hug a little bit and looks at you again.
And Abby, she also covers the fact that hey, there is an actual big who knows about us now, and hey, it's kind of my fault. So yeah, yay! Everything
Uh,
went turned into a mess.
Croak pats you on the head in a sort of I'm sorry manner.
Abby just kind of sighs heavily. She's just like, that was a lot.
Croak nods, and they reach over to pick up the needle, and then they hand it to you.
do you, do you want me to sew some?
And they nod.
Abby like grins at them, and we're going to roll another dex to see with advantage because this is her thing. Dice parser. Not 20.
Not 20. You sewed these pants real good. Like
it's like the cartoonish just like you do it super fast and stuff and boom, you have pants.
yeah. And as you're like holding these up in triumph because you did it really fast, Croak does like the little feather clap again. It doesn't make any noise, but they are clapping.
Abby beams. Here you go,
And
Croak. She hands the pants to Croak.
Croak stands up and then looks at the pants.
Oh, do you need me to show you how to put them on?
Croak shakes their head.
Oh, one sec. She digs out in her hammer space and then pulls out a very comically huge changing little thing because like it's like a curtain on like a circular rod, so you basically can just go in and then change.
Huh. Yeah. All right. Croak seems startled that like this thing is really big. Where did it come from? But after a moment, just seems to accept the fact it's there, and kind of like inspects it, and then pokes their head in.
You can change in here.
Croak nods, and then they walk in, and they shut it with their beak.
Abby waits.
And there's a rustle of fabric. A lot more rustling of fabric than you thought it would be for Croak just putting on pants.
Mm-hmm.
But when they walk out of this changing room, they are wearing the pants, but they aren't wearing the scarf or the sweater or their dress. And they look a little something like this. There is an angry orange scar at their waistline and two smaller scars decorating their chest. And they do like a little spin, and you can see like a large curved scar on the back. And they don't they don't seem to do anything about it. Seems like this is normal because they're not even like reacting to anything. They're just showing off that hey, they got a new pair of pants.
Abby tries to look extremely happy for the fact that, Hey, you have pants! They look fantastic on you! But the moment she saw the scars all on Croak's body, uh, they, they just, they just, her face drops because who hurt this bird?
Yeah. Croak looks confused for a moment. Actually, they keep looking confused because, like, hey, they made these pants. These pants are really nice.
Croak? Are you still hurting anywhere?
Croak takes a second to pause.
Because those look like they hurt.
Uh, and Croak considers something for a moment. Before lowering their arms a little bit and then raising them up again, and they wave them around a little. And then, for the first time this session, they decide to speak. No. And then, like, they're waving it a little bit faster. No. And then, Abby, roll me an intelligence save.
Oh boy, intelligence save? Oh no.
Yeah.
She has a +5 to that, so 17.
Oh boy. Abby, logically, after a demonstration and a no is a demonstration and a yes. And you only have a few seconds to respond before Croak starts to wave their hands at a very rapid speed. Enough to sort of lift them up slightly, but then their arms go stiff and they fall over, flat on their back.
Croak! Croak! Abby, like, runs over to Croak and picks them up. Oh, Croak!
Croak's arms are stiff for a moment, and then they slowly curl in on themselves again. And Croak seems fine, but their arms are moving really slowly now.
Oh, don't mind me quietly dying.
Yeah. And Croak
Oh.
looks at you. Yes.
Oh, Croak, I'm so sorry. You can't really fly, can you?
Croak shakes their head.
Oh. Abby is going to cast Healing Word, just like to maybe help soothe some of the stiffness. They get 4 quote unquote HP back.
Croak curls their arm again, and it's faster now, but
It's definitely
it,
not fixed.
yeah, it'll take a little bit more time.
Abby like kind of just like gently like touches their shoulders and stuff, and it's just like, okay, you sit here for a moment. You made really good pants. I'm really proud of you, Croak. I'm going to make something for you. Just one sec. And she gently like puts Croak down and hurries off to the little alchemy section of her space. And there's like she like kind of like looks around and then grabs some white thread and then pulls out her knitting needles, and she like kind of like looks at Croak and then like back out the threads and her needles, and then is like looks back at Croak for a moment, and then click 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 click, and suddenly she has a little she has knitted a little band of white thread, basically like a little friendship bracelet almost. And she ties that off and then goes over to one of the green boiling pots of what, for the audience's sake, is dye. And she grabs some tongs and then dips it into the dye. And then I just need to look at a thing on her sheet real quick. Okay, where is it?
I'm sorry, I'm being quiet. I just love this explanation.
No, it's fine. It's just me really quickly looking to make sure
Yeah.
that if I had to roll something. Okay, here it is. Okay, so it's, and then, sorry, just having to look around my, because I hadn't written it down.
That's fine.
Okay, okay. And she pulls it out and she kind of drips it dry a little bit, and then, like, in Toondish fashion, it becomes dry. And she takes this newly dyed bracelet thing and takes it over, and it's like, okay, I don't think this will fit your wings, but I think it'll still help if I tie it around your foot, one of your feet, like, so you can just have this little bracelet around your feet.
Yeah.
It's one of my dyes that sometimes it will help heal things. I don't really know how it works, but it should help, maybe.
Croak lifts up one of their feet, just sort of like to give Abby easier access to it.
Abby ties it to Croak's feet, Croak's foot.
Yeah,
And
Croak's now got a little nice ankle bracelet.
yep.
And Croak, you can roll insight on this bird, but it's pretty obvious Croak does not know the purpose of this bracelet fully. Yeah, even with a 6, Croak does not understand the purpose of this bracelet fully. It's a nice
Mm-hmm.
looking bracelet, but they
Abby
don't.
kind of just pats them on the shoulder, and it's just like, it should help with your shoulders. Like, not right away, but it should help.
Croak nods. Oh boy. And even if they don't quite understand the purpose of this anklet, uh, Croak, Croak is gonna give Abby another hug.
Abby hugs them right back.
This bird is still very cold,
We need to.
very fluffy, but still very cold.
Abby just looks at them and is like, go get dressed fully, and then we can cuddle under some I can't speak. We can cuddle under some blankets for a bit until you warm up.
Croak looks happy at the term cuddle, slightly confused at the term warm up, but goes to grab the rest of their clothing items anyway.
Oh, Croak.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you could roll a medicine check against the bird if you do want to inspect some of the wounds, like the old wounds, further.
Yes, I very greatly would like to. That's a 19.
All right. The scars are very almost squishy to the touch. They do not feel like they don't feel like it belongs to a bird. It kind of feels like the mushroom texture on their head.
Magic,
And
as the player, I do not like that implication there.
hey, Mary, you want another weird implication?
Okay, oh god, what am I gonna learn?
Like looking up at the mushroom after you notice this, you can notice just a small little line of orange that connects their head to the mushroom. It's not very obvious unless you're looking for it, but there is that. And also, the mushrooms that usually grow on their shoulder aren't there anymore. And there's also an orange scar.
Mmm. I don't like that. I don't like that, Magic. I don't like that at all. What is going on with this good bird?
Yeah. And this bird is still cold to the touch. With that medicine check, um, it might be slightly colder than normal, but you have the feeling that they're almost always at least lukewarm.
Abby will take lukewarm over ice cube.
Yeah. And do you lead Croak over to the small nest
Yes.
that uh Croak inspects this nest in a sort of like critiquing manner
She did use
because
the lessons. She did use the lessons, Croak.
yeah, and Croak nods in approval, like, yeah, that's a pretty good nest.
Abby beams.
Yeah.
So yeah, like she like basically just gonna roll hammer space one last time. And she pulls out a lot more blankets and just is kind of like sits down and pats the ground and is just like, come on, Croak, let's get some warmth.
And Croak like sits down and then just lays on top of Abby.
Okay, this is good. This is good. This means we have more blanket for the both of us. And she wraps both of them in a lot of blankets. Because like
Yeah.
even if Croak doesn't really warm up that much, she's cuddling a cold bird. She will need the blankets.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you want to leave it off there with the two of them chilling under blankets?
That's a good ending.
All right. All right. That was fun. That was fun.
Yes, and
I love that.
we should say goodbye to our listeners real quick.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this tiny Toonkind FPS. We love you.